The elevator on the east side opened at 2:13 a.m., and the man who stepped out was wearing my security badge, even though it was still clipped to my chest. I saw it immediately on the monitor wall in the lobby, bright enough to catch the infrared glare, swinging against his black uniform shirt as he walked into the hallway outside the executive offices. Same photo, same name, same employee number. Mine. I froze with my hand halfway to the coffee pot because the east elevator had been locked since midnight for maintenance, and because I was the only night guard scheduled at Alderaan Systems' Denver campus that week. The man moved with this slow, deliberate confidence, not sneaking, not hurrying, just heading toward the restricted wing like he belonged there. Then he stopped directly under camera 18 and looked up. My own face stared back at me from the screen. Not close enough to catch every feature, but close enough. Same build, same beard, same shaved head. He smiled, reached up, and tapped the badge clipped to his chest.
Then the feed cut to static.
I called maintenance first, thinking someone had looped the camera. No answer. I called my supervisor, Rick. Straight to voicemail. I replayed the footage 3 times, expecting to catch some detail that would make it make sense. But each replay was identical, right up until the static. Same walk, same stop, same smile, same tap. I grabbed my flashlight and headed for the east corridor. Alderaan's campus sits 40 minutes outside Denver, tucked against dry foothills and surrounded by scrubland and pine. The kind of place corporations build when they want privacy and tax breaks. During the day, it looked sleek and forgettable. Glass walls, brushed steel, motivational slogans etched into stone. At night, it felt like a museum after closing. Too much empty space. Too much silence. My radio crackled halfway down the hall. Badge confirmed. The voice was mine. Not similar. Mine. Same rasp from smoking too much in college. Same clipped way I talk when I'm annoyed. I stopped so fast my boots squealed against the polished floor. Who's on this channel? Then, proceed to executive archives. My own voice again, calm and flat. I checked the display. Channel 3, internal security. No external access. I switched channels. Dead silence. Back to 3. Nothing. The east elevator stood open when I reached it. Maintenance tape still stretched across the entrance, unbroken. Inside, the control panel was dark, except for one illuminated button marked B. There is no basement at Alderaan. 3 floors above ground, 1 parking deck below. I know because part of my orientation involved memorizing evacuation routes. Yet there it was, glowing softly, like it had always been there. I backed away and headed for the executive corridor instead. Camera 18 was still dead.
The hallway beyond it smelled wrong, like fresh rain on hot asphalt, except it hadn't rained in weeks. Every office door was closed except the CEO's suite at the very end. It was open 6 inches. I drew my company-issued taser and pushed inside. The office lights were off, but the monitor on the desk glowed blue. Security footage was playing. Not live feeds, archived recordings. Hundreds of tiny windows tiled across the screen, all labeled with dates going back 6 years. And in every single one, there was me. Walking hallways, checking doors, sitting at the front desk, making rounds. Different uniforms, different haircuts, slight changes in age, but unmistakably me. I hadn't even worked there 6 years. I started 11 months ago. The cursor moved across the screen by itself and opened a folder labeled Retention Failures. There were 32 video files. I clicked the first.
Grainy footage from 2021 showed a night guard sprinting through the parking garage while alarms blared. He looked exactly like me. He reached the exit gate, pounded on the glass, then turned toward the camera as someone stepped into frame behind him. The footage glitched. When it cleared, the garage was empty except for his dropped flashlight. I clicked another. Same face, different uniform. Running through the west stairwell, screaming into a radio. Static swallowed the audio. He vanished between frames. Another from 2023. Another from 2024. Every year. Sometimes twice a year. Different versions of me disappearing somewhere on campus. My radio hissed. Now you understand. I spun around. Rick stood in the doorway. At least, I thought it was Rick. Same broad shoulders, same crooked nose, but his expression was blank, almost waxy. He looked exhausted in a way that made his skin seem too loose for his face. "What the hell is this?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. He stepped inside and locked the door. "I told them not to hire anyone who matched the profile this closely," he said. "Makes the transition rougher." My stomach dropped. "What profile?" He gave me this sad little smile. "Mine." He unclipped his badge and tossed it onto the desk. The photo showed my face. Employee issue date, June 14th, 2018. "Alderaan isn't a software company," he said. "That's just the front. They're doing continuity mapping, human pattern replication, consciousness retention. They find candidates with high structural overlap and use them as templates. That's not possible. It wasn't supposed to work this well." He nodded toward the screen. "Every time the transfer destabilizes, they start over. New identity, new records, same core architecture." My head started pounding. I reached for my phone and found no signal, 0 bars. The building blocked reception sometimes, but never completely. "You're lying." I said that too. He took a slow breath. I remember saying it. Then all the monitors changed at once to live camera feeds. Every hallway screen showed someone moving toward the office. Men in black security uniforms, all with my face. Different hair lengths, different scars, different ages, but all me. Some walked normally, some limped. One dragged his left leg. Another's head twitched sharply every few steps. "Retention failures," Rick said. "They don't erase cleanly." The office phone began ringing. No caller ID. Just the shrill mechanical ring echoing through the room. Rick didn't move. "Don't answer it." It stopped after 6 rings. Then my cell phone rang in my pocket. Unknown number. Against instinct, every instinct, I answered. Then my own voice whispered, "Don't let him keep you here." The line cut. Rick's face changed. Not surprise. Recognition. "Which one was that?" he muttered. Someone pounded on the office door hard enough to rattle the glass. Then another knock. Then 6 more, overlapping, frantic, and arrhythmic. The handle began jerking violently. Rick grabbed my arm. "We have to move." He yanked open a hidden panel behind the bookshelf. Service stairs descended into darkness. Basement level. We ran. The door above slammed open behind us, and dozens of footsteps thundered after us. The stairwell spiraled far deeper than the building should allow.
Concrete walls dripped condensation. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead in staggered pulses, illuminating flashes of movement above us. Faces leaning over railings, all mine, watching. "Where does this go?" I shouted. "Original archive," Rick said, "where they keep the source model." We burst into a huge underground chamber filled with server racks, humming loud enough to vibrate my teeth. At the center stood a glass enclosure.
Inside was a small security desk, a monitor wall, and a man sitting perfectly still in a chair. He looked older than me by maybe 20 years, gray at the temples, skin papery and drawn tight. But it was my face. His eyes opened as we approached. "Finally," he said. His voice was weak, but unmistakably mine. "How many?" I asked. He gave a dry laugh. "You're the 33rd stable branch." Behind us, the stairwell filled with footsteps. Rick shoved a key card into my hand. "Open the enclosure," he said. "Why?" "Because he's the anchor. If he leaves, the system collapses." The old man shook his head sharply. "He's still following orders." Rick drew his taser and pointed it at me. "Open it!" The footsteps were almost on us now, dozens of versions of myself flooding into the chamber. Panic hit so hard, my vision tunneled. The old man slammed his palms against the glass. "Look at his badge!" I glanced down. Rick's employee issue date wasn't 2018 anymore. It was tomorrow's date, May 5th, 2026. He smiled when he saw me notice. Continuity requires succession. Everything clicked at once. He wasn't a prior version. He was the next replacement, already printed, already briefed. I slammed the keycard against the emergency shutdown slot beside the enclosure instead. Alarms exploded through the chamber. Every server rack went dark. The glass around the old man retracted with a hiss. He lunged forward and grabbed Rick, driving him backward as sparks burst from the ceiling. The other versions surged toward me, some screaming, some laughing, some begging. I ran for the stairwell while the lights died one by one behind me. I made it to ground level just as backup generators failed and the whole campus dropped into darkness. The front gates were open for the first time all night. I drove until sunrise and never looked back. Alderaan systems burned down that afternoon. Electrical fire, according to local news. Total loss. No survivors reported because, officially, no one had been inside. That was 3 months ago. Yesterday, I started a new security job outside Colorado Springs at a biomedical logistics campus. Better pay, cleaner record, easier commute. They handed me my badge during orientation. I didn't notice the issue date until I got home. May 5th, 2027. Next year. And this morning, before my first shift, my phone buzzed with a calendar reminder I never created. It says only one thing. Clock in at 2:13 a.m. Don't be late this time. The elevator display dropped from 1 to B at exactly 3:07 a.m., even though our building had never had a basement. I was staring straight at it from the security desk when it happened, halfway through another overnight shift at Halden Corporate Plaza outside Portland. 12 floors of accounting firms, insurance offices, and empty conference suites surrounded by dense pine and access roads nobody used after dark. I'd worked security there for 9 months and knew every inch of the place. 2 elevators, ground floor, 12 offices above, parking garage attached on the east side. No basement, no sublevel,
No B. But there it was, glowing red above the elevator doors, steady and unmistakable. Then the doors opened. Empty. No one stepped out. No motion inside. Just a stale rush of cold air carrying the smell of wet concrete and something metallic underneath it. I stood up so fast, my chair rolled into the wall.
The lobby was silent except for the hum of vending machines and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights. Then my radio crackled.
Unit 1, report basement clearance. It was dispatch. Except dispatch had gone home 4 hours earlier, and all overnight calls automatically routed to my cell. I grabbed the radio. Repeat that? Then, in the same clipped female voice, Unit 1, report basement clearance. Subject entered at 3:05. The transmission ended. I checked the panel. No incoming source ID, internal only. That wasn't possible. I looked back at the elevator. The B had vanished. Display showed 1, normal. I walked over and pressed the call button. The doors opened immediately. The control panel listed P, 1 through 12. No basement. I checked every button twice. Nothing hidden, nothing loose. Just as I stepped back out, the elevator behind me chimed, and the display switched to B again.
The doors slid shut on their own. Then it began descending. I hit the emergency stop. Nothing happened. It kept going until the display blinked out entirely. I called my supervisor, Nate, straight to voicemail. Called building maintenance. No answer. Then the security monitors flickered. Camera feeds began changing one by one. Lobby, garage entrance, hallways, conference suites. Every screen replaced by grainy black and white footage of places I didn't recognize. Concrete corridors, low ceilings, exposed pipes dripping water. Doorways marked with numbers stenciled in black paint. B14, B22, B31. The feed from camera 6 shifted suddenly. A figure was standing in one of those underground hallways. Security uniform, male, facing away from the camera. My uniform. Same broad shoulders, same shaved head. The figure lifted his radio. Mine crackled instantly. He saw us. My own voice. Calm, flat, not recorded. Live. I spun around so fast I knocked over the incident log binder. The lobby was empty. You need to leave before they notice the discrepancy. I backed toward the front doors, never taking my eyes off the monitor wall. The figure on camera 6 slowly turned toward the lens. My face stared back, bruised, older somehow. There was dried blood down one side of his neck. "Too late," he said. Every monitor cut to static. The elevator dinged behind me. I turned, doors open, B glowing softly inside. The cold air hit me again, stronger this time. Then I heard footsteps from the stairwell across the lobby. Heavy, measured, someone descending fast. My first thought was finally, maintenance, another guard, anybody. Then the stairwell door burst open, and I saw him. Me. Exactly me. Right down to the scar under my chin from a bike wreck when I was 14. He looked exhausted, uniform dirty, left sleeve soaked dark with blood. He locked eyes with me and sprinted across the lobby. "Move!" He slammed into me just as something crashed through the stairwell door behind him. We hit the floor hard. A second version of me stepped through the doorway. This one wore an older Halden security uniform style they'd retired years ago. His face was expressionless. His throat was opened from ear to ear, but no blood came out.
He started walking toward us. The guy who'd tackled me yanked me up. "Elevator, now!" "What the hell? If they catch you up here, you reset." That was all he said before dragging me into the elevator. He hit B. The doors closed just as dead-throat me reached them. The elevator dropped hard enough to make my stomach lurch, not descending normally, falling. The floor indicator stayed blank. We fell for at least 30 seconds. "Who are you?" I demanded. "Version 17, he said.
"You're 24. I laughed once, sharp and involuntary.
"No."
He gave me a tired look. "That's what I said."
The elevator stopped. Doors opened onto a concrete corridor exactly like the camera feeds. Harsh fluorescent lighting, moisture on the walls, rows of steel doors stretching both directions. Somewhere far off, alarms were sounding. "Halden's not an office complex," he said as we ran. "It's a retention facility. They copy employee neural patterns, test continuity under isolation stress, then terminate unstable iterations." "You're insane. Do you remember applying for the job?" I opened my mouth and froze. I remembered the interview. I remembered orientation, but the application itself? Filling it out? Finding the listing? Nothing. Just blank space. We turned a corner and nearly collided with another me standing motionless in the hallway. This one was younger, maybe early 20s, with panic-wide eyes. He whispered, "Don't go to B31. Then his body convulsed violently and collapsed like something had unplugged him. No pulse, no breath, just dead. "System decay," 17 muttered. "The deeper they archive, the less stable they get." We kept running. Every few corridors we passed, more versions. Some ignored us, some stared. One pounded on a locked steel door, screaming my name over and over. Another was carefully mopping blood from the floor while humming under his breath. Then we reached B31. The steel door was already open. Inside was a security desk identical to the one upstairs, monitor wall included. Sitting in the chair was an old man with my face, maybe 70 years older, skin sagging and gray. Tubes ran from his arms into humming machines. He looked at me and smiled sadly. "Finally got one with enough curiosity." "Who are you?" I asked. "Original cognitive template." His voice shook. "The first night guard."
1987. That made no sense. Halden Plaza was built in 2014. He nodded toward my expression. "The building above is just a shell. This facility predates it. Every few years they renovate, rename, and recruit another sequence." 17 stepped forward. "We shut it down tonight." The old man looked at him. "No, we preserve continuity. You said if the anchor died, all branches collapse." I lied. The room lights dimmed. Then every monitor turned on at once. Each displayed the same live feed. The lobby upstairs. Empty, except for a security guard sitting calmly at the front desk. Me. Fresh uniform, no injuries, writing in the incident log like nothing had happened. 25 already initialized, the old man said. "You're obsolete." 17 swore and lunged for the machines. The old man slammed a red switch beside his chair. Steel shutters dropped over the exits. Alarms screamed, and from the hallway outside came dozens of footsteps, fast and synchronized. The dead-eyed versions, the unstable ones, closing in. He feeds them terminated branches, 17 shouted, struggling with the machine housing. They recycle memories into enforcement copies. The footsteps hit the door, hard. Metal buckled inward. I looked at the monitor showing 25 casually checking his watch upstairs. Then I noticed what he was writing in the incident log. My exact handwriting. The old man smiled at me. He'll believe he's the original, too. Something in me snapped. I grabbed the steel monitor stand and drove it into the machine bank feeding his tubes. Sparks exploded. The old man screamed, not in pain, but fury. Every monitor went black. The footsteps outside stopped instantly. Total silence. Then the floor beneath us shuddered. Cracks shot across the concrete.
17 grabbed my arm.
Run! We hit the emergency ladder shaft just as the chamber began collapsing. Dust and chunks of concrete rained down while we climbed. 17 was below me, shouting to keep moving. Then the ladder jerked violently. I looked down. 3 versions had climbed out of the darkness and grabbed him. They all had my face. He looked up once. Don't let them hire you again. Then they dragged him backward into the collapsing shaft. I kept climbing until I burst through a maintenance hatch into the parking garage. Dawn was breaking. The building alarms blared. Sprinklers rained from the ceiling. I ran to my car and drove. Halden Plaza suffered a gas line explosion that morning. News said structural damage forced permanent closure. No casualties. That was 6 weeks ago. I moved to Boise, changed my number, changed everything. Yesterday, I was apartment hunting and found a listing for a cheap place near downtown.
The landlord handed me the key and apologized for the old building.
Used to be corporate offices, he said. Been vacant since the basement collapse. I told him there must be a mistake because the building only had 4 floors. He frowned and pointed to the elevator behind us. The display above it glowed red. B, then the doors opened, and the man inside was wearing my current apartment key around his neck.